Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies again with another video. This time is going to be a recommendation video. So what this recommendation is going to be about is basically what should be your next firewall. So I've dealt with a lot of firewalls in the industry from, ASAs all the way to WatchGuards to PFSense for you open source people out there that know what PFSense is. But when we're talking about the enterprise environments, you really have three main firewalls. One of them used to be the king of the firewall. The fourth one I would put in there, but that used to be the king of firewalls, but not so much anymore. But we're going to talk about these, right? So, right now, the recommendations that I'm going to put out here is one of the four, but the fourth one is with a grain of salt. So, let's go to the board here. Let's talk about firewalls. All right, which one should you use? So you have the Cisco secure firewall offering, and this is basically your firewall threat defense or secure firewall as they call it. Then you have a Palo Alto, all right, or PAs for short. Then you have Fortinet, which is their FortiGate platform. And that fourth one that I was talking about that used to be the king is Checkpoint, who what's called CPs. And these were the inventors of stateful firewalling. They used to be the king, right? Now, these are all good firewalls, right? They all have their pros and cons. And anybody that tells you their firewall is the best, better than everything under the sun, and can do everything you want and don't give you any headaches, they're pretty much lying to you. Every firewall has their pros and cons. It's about, can you deal with the cons, right? So, one of the pros of the Cisco Secure Firewall platform is the ecosystem, right? And the tight integration with other things, right? Through PX Grid, you can share contextual information, which is the who, what, where, when, and how a device got on your network. You can share those amongst all the things in the security platform or security portfolio, and then you can actually create policy based on that contextual information, right? And again, the real key here is the integration with Cisco's ecosystem. By far, I would say Cisco's ecosystem when it comes to their security platform is to me the best. Not because I'm, a Cisco guy. I'm just looking at everything in terms of like how they build around and make sure everything can integrate with other products. They pretty much got all the other vendors beat. On top of that, the integration also does really well with SDI, secure access, right? So secure access really blends into Cisco's ecosystem, and that goes back to integrating with the firewall, right? Now, PAs, they were kind of the bee's knees when they first came out. They had Wildfire, they had they have their own thing for that kind of emulates Cisco Secure Firewall platform, which were the FMC and the FTD. They have their own panorama and their pan um, devices. Problem is, panorama could be a little wonky, right? If you're used to it, someone that's the PA guy is probably going to tell me, oh, that platform is way better than Cisco's stuff. Again, it's all about the pros and cons and what you can deal with. I've seen a lot of people not wanting to deal with PA because Panorama is not as intuitive as you think it is, or when you start messing with it, it's not as intuitive. In fact, these two are are all in the field. There's always something wonky going on with PAs when it comes to Panorama or FortiManager and Fortinet. Not saying they're not they're bad products. It's just in the field, when you talk to people, they will tell you some horror stories with the two. And I'm not saying that FMC doesn't have its own horror stories. They're all basically a working project. They're always iterating and stuff like that. So with new versions of software that comes out, there are going to be bugs. It is what it is. Checkpoints, checkpoints have this has its own little flavor of stuff, right? Um, Now you can use the SMS, which is a security management console there, or security management server, and you can break out your CPs and manage your CPs with the SMS. Checkpoint does have you'll see that you'll see checkpoints in some enterprise environments, but you'll see less and less of checkpoints. Most of the time, you're either going to see like Fortinet is really on the SMB side, but Cisco does have a great SMB firewall for that. So I see a lot of Fortinet in the SMB side, um, not really in the enterprise side. In the SMB side, they usually end up outgrowing FortiGate after a while. Usually, some people that are still small, they'll keep their FortiGates or they'll bump up to the next level. But the one thing that Cisco Secure Firewall has everybody beat on is the RAVPN capabilities. And I'm just going to be 100% honest. I know there's going to be some people from the other vendors that's going to be mad, but I'm just going to tell you, based on my experience in the field, AnyConnect beats every one of these RAVPN platforms. I think this Palo Alto has Global Connect. Yeah. So Global Connect is not. Yeah, even people that have deployed PAs for a living, they don't really like Global Connect. Um, so that's from asking people that are like Palo Alto specialists. They love the platform, but they don't like Global Connect, and they'll tell you flat out AnyConnect beats our secure client beats Global Connect. FortiGate, same issue. Not as tightly integrated with the product as AnyConnect. And FortiGate has their own RA client. I forgot what the client is, but they have their own client. Checkpoint, good luck. Checkpoint has its own, it's almost similar to Global Connect in terms of people that deploy checkpoints don't really like the RA VPN capabilities. So this is why, you have to factor that into. It's not just about inspection and throughput and stuff like that. It's the user experience when it comes to RAVPN. Now, AnyConnect is by far, in my opinion, AnyConnect, our secure client now, is by far the best RAVPN client module out there. There are so many things that you can tack on to AnyConnect, our secure client, that gives you more security features or protects your asset, corporate asset, even better than the other or the competitors. So, one thing, obviously, if you're an umbrella customer, you have umbrella integration, right? If you want to do posturing, meaning you want to dictate access of a machine based on the health of that machine, the posture module is a lot better than a lot of the modules that are on the other client. And the other clients are kind of, they don't give you a plethora of things that you can check from a device posture standpoint. A lot of it is very basic. A lot of it's like the old host scan that used to be on the ASAs. Used to use a host scan for that. You could look at Palo Alto's client. They kind of do host scan, right? And if anybody knows host scan, that's like the old way of doing posturing. If you want to, you can integrate ZTNA module in there, right? So I don't know any clients that can do that right now, other than secure client. You have, Thousand Eyes for, digital experience, stuff like that. Even old school stuff, the NAM module, Network Access Manager module. You can use that if for some odd reason you wanted to use it. The NAND module is when you wanted to do like eat fast, when you wanted to do eat chaining. But now that they have TEEP out now, you don't really need the NAND module for that anymore. What else you got here? You can go to Stealth Watch. I forgot what the Stealth Watch module is, but you can actually, there's a Stealth Watch or CNA integration. And again, this goes to how you can integrate into other security products in Cisco's ecosystem. Cisco Firewall works great with ICE, obviously ICE and TrustSec, which TrustSec is not on any other NAC solution. So this is exclusively to Cisco security architecture. So you're not going to find this with Fortinet, or you're not going to find this with Forescout, or you're not going to find this with, you know, what else? ClearPass. You're not going to find it. There's a lot of stuff. This is why I always say ICE is probably the best NAC solution in the environment, but we'll in the marketplace. But this is not a NAC conversation. This is a firewall conversation. Again, you can integrate it with TrustSec. You can do things like rapid threat containment. You have Talos backing this up. All right, you got Talos, which is their threat research, security research part of Cisco, or arm of Cisco, that integrates. Now, you know, Palo has Wildfire and all that good stuff as well. So it's really about, you know, what you want to deal with in terms of integration. You can also integrate the firewall with secure endpoints. All right, secure endpoint, which is another module on the AnyConnect client. Now you can see why I kind of lean more into the Cisco security platform or architecture. It's not just about the firewall per se. It's about what else can be tacked on with the firewall that increases the coverage. All right. So yes, you can get a PAN, you can get a Fortinet or FortiGate, you can get a checkpoint, but can you integrate all these other things into it? Can you integrate ICE? Can you integrate Stealth Watch? Can you integrate, and this is if you got this in your infrastructure, right? If you don't have any of this stuff in your infrastructure, you may or may not care. But if you're looking to integrate that type of stuff in your environment, well, you want things to play nice, right? And this is where ecosystem, this is like how Apple beats Android per se, right? Android might could do all the cool stuff, but it's not properly integrated well in a good cohesive ecosystem compared to Apple, which just everything just works within its ecosystem. So you're going to go with ease of use, and because ease of use is always going to give you a better ability to implement the security solution. If it's too hard to implement, you're not going to put it in place. So Cisco's firewall actually implements or integrates very well in its architecture, right? Again, you have your management, FMC. You can do HA on the FMC side. You can do things like VPN load balancing, which you cannot do in a Palo, in a Fortinet, or a checkpoint. I did a video about VPN load balancing. That the Cisco platform is the only platform that I know of that can do VPN or a VPN load balancing, meaning you can utilize two boxes at the same time and load balance the session load on each box. You can't do that in any of the other three that I mentioned. You need the TrustSec with the SGTs. Now you're taking your tag infrastructure and taking it from the access layer, moving it all the way up to the firewall. Now there is a way to kind of do it with Palos, but again, it's not as cohesive and it's not as smooth of an implementation when you try to do it with other vendors, right? Again, if you're a Cisco shop and you're already in the Cisco world, it's almost a no-brainer to also have the firewalls in there if you want to take full advantage of those capabilities. What else is there that I can think about here? Okay. Again, tighter integration with other things like Umbrella. You try to build a tunnel or Umbrella with other, firewall platforms, you can still do it, but it's a lot more manual intensive, right? Compared to on the FMC, you do your integration with your API keys, and then you can spin up a tunnel in less than I would say 30 seconds, right? And now you're in Umbrella, you do your PBR, and then now you have your traffic going straight to Umbrella, right? Integration with now the ability to do things like WAN load balancing or ECMP. Now you can do that on Fortinets. You pretty much do it in all of them, right? Again, it's about implementation. How quick can you do it? Now, if you ask a Palo Alto person or a Fortinet person, they'll probably tell they can do it in 15 minutes. So I'm not gonna say there's an advantage to Cisco because all those other vendors can do it. But if you're already in the Cisco world, again, it's probably better from a firewall perspective to also be in the Cisco world because now you have that same ease of ecosystem. So that is a brief comparison of firewalls. And in my opinion, if we're going to talk about what I suggest, obviously I'm going to go with the Cisco Secure Firewall platform. Why? That's what I'm used to use. I've been using that for since it came out, since the 6X days. And if anybody uses the 6X days, you know what I'm talking about. It is a great firewall, but I'm not saying it's a great firewall just because, I like Cisco products. I'm saying it's a great firewall for the reasons that I just mentioned earlier. Ecosystem is going to be the key. It's not just about a single siloed firewall that just does the firewall. It's can you integrate it with other things and actually have other capabilities based on that integration that maximizes the coverage you got in terms of security, network security, securing the assets, right? Again, like I said, you can do your trust sec, you can do Umbrella within 30 seconds. You can integrate it with secure endpoints. So now your malware and file policy can actually, I did a video on this as well. Like you can have a scenario where, and this is the network as a sensor concept. This is what I actually want to talk about. Network as a sensor concept is the only thing I've seen in the Cisco platform and not the other vendors. What network as a sensor is if you tie all your sensors into something like secure endpoints, if another firewall in another location saw a bad item come through it and you blocked it over there, once you block it on that sensor by using a custom list, once you take that hash value and you put it in your custom list as a bad thing, everything that is connected to secure endpoints, that console, everything that's connected now says that hash is a bad hash. So it now blocks it everywhere. So you don't necessarily have to see it come through every one of your sites to block it. Once one site sees it and you mark it as a bad thing, everything that's connected, it's integrated in. That means your endpoints that have secure endpoints on it and the firewalls and other things that are connected into secure endpoints. Once all of that is integrated, now everybody know that's a bad thing. The next time if another firewall sees it coming through, it blocks it immediately. If it ends up on an endpoint, blocks it immediately. On top of that, you have this thing called retrospective block, right? So let's say you let something through, right? And it comes back later that the file disposition is, oh, this is malware. Well, now it can go back and start blocking all this stuff on it could block the file on every machine after retroactively or retrospective, I think it's retroactively, says is, hey, this file is bad. Can't do that with a lot of other platforms. And this is why I'm recommending the secure firewall platform, because it's not just, hey, I block it at the firewall and that's it. It's I block it at the firewall, I block it at the endpoint, I can block it at another firewall that didn't even see the file go over there. You have complete visibility on where that file actually entered in using file trajectory, right? And then you can see, hey, it followed, you follow the path on where that file actually went to, or where it was seen first. Where did it copy itself? It went over there. Okay, we blocked it here. So that's why I'm recommending it. Now, Palo again, Fortinet again, Checkpoint again, they're good firewalls at what they do, but hands down, they don't have the integration that the secure firewall platform has. So I hope that answers your question. This is Don from Padlock Technologies. Don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you, and have a nice day.